Hi everyone, Sarah here. Welcome back to Never Out of Books. As we are approaching September and the fall months, and my current readathon is ending, I was wondering how I would get my reading mojo to keep going. And so I was looking for readathons, and I know there's Victober and Nonfiction November and things like that. And I just happened to fall on one of the people I follow, Tia at Tia All the Books, has a Fall into Reading challenge that goes from September 1st to November 30th. And I said, this is perfect. Just what I was looking for, because I like me some long reading challenges, because the week-long ones don't always work for me. So I'm going to participate this year in this. So this is very much Instagram, I feel like, on Instagram, more than like Twitter or anything like that. I don't do Instagram very much. I do have an account, but I don't bookstagram. That's beyond my capabilities, I feel like. But I will do my best to update on there as we go through it. There are 2 boards that you can use, a 15, I think, square board and a 24. I'm going to go for the 24 square board and try to read 24 books over those 3 months. In theory, I should be able to do this, although I'll let you be the judge of that, considering some of the monstrosities of books I have on here. But I think this is just the thing to keep me going, keep me reading through the fall, and to help me get books off my shelves. So some of these books may be familiar to you already if you watch my channel, but I'm going to go through everything right now. So the first prompt is to read a YA book. I have chosen to read Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. This is a young adult fantasy. And it was one of the books that I wanted to try out the series this year to see if it's something that I'm interested in reading the other books. Second challenge is to read a book with orange, yellow, or gold on the cover, which I took to mean basically it looks like a fall cover. And for that I chose Ballroom by Alice Simpson. This does have golds and browns on it, and this is about ballroom dancing. But it is also one of the lowest rated books on my TBR that I own. So I have been very apprehensive to read it, but it has come down to the time to do this. The third is a beloved author. I could have gone a lot of different ways with this, but you know, after I picked everything out, I decided I would just go with Cindy Anstey. I have adored her books so far, and I have this one, The Hummingbird Dagger, which is her version of like historical romantic suspense, I believe. Fourth challenge is to read a fantasy. For that, I grabbed Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This has been all over BookTube in the past. I have gone back and forth on reading it, not reading it, and then I bought it at the Strand when I went a long time ago. So now I have to read it. The fifth is a mystery. I am going to be reading The Loch Ness Papers by Paige Sheldon. This is the next book that I'm up to in a Scottish Bookshop mystery series. These are cozy mysteries. They are set in Scotland with an American main character. Sixth challenge is to read an author of color. For this, I chose Miracle Creek by Angie Kim, and the author is from South Korea. And from what I have read, this is a courtroom thriller, which I haven't read much of, even though I love them. And it's a Book of the Month book, which is something that I've been meaning to get to this year, is to read some of these Book of the Month books that I have sitting on my shelf. So this will make me happy to read this. The seventh challenge is to read a graphic novel. For this, I don't have it on hand. I will be going to Hoopla, and I will be reading the second Tea Dragon Society graphic novel that I adore. The eighth challenge is supernatural. I don't like to read things with supernatural stuff in it, so I chose the weirdest book that I could find, I guess. And that would be The Lady Rogue by Jen Bennett, just because this ring is supposed to be kind of creepy and magical and stuff, and so This is all I got for this. I am not reading some. No, I don't like supernatural things. So this is as close as I'm getting. I'm counting it. The 9th is to read a historical fiction. For this, I am reading The Queen of the Night by Alexander Chee. This might be the oldest book of the month book that I have on my shelf. It is from 2016. It is also huge, over 500 pages. But, you know, there's no time like the present. I want to read these. The 10th prompt took me forever to find a book for. And that is a book that takes place in fall. Not every book puts on it, you know, when it takes place. And I was really trying to read my own books as much as possible. So I had to pull down so many books off the shelf to find one. And it looks like I am going to have to start a new series, which I guess is fine. And it is a cozy mystery, Murder by the Book by Lauren Elliott. And this is a Beyond the Page bookstore mystery. And the first line talks about autumn leaves. So, yay! The 11th challenge is a nonfiction. I'm going to read Smarter Than You Think, How Technology is Changing Our Minds for the Better by Clive Thompson. And this is, I'm assuming, exactly what the title says. An argument for technology, which is intriguing because most people don't argue for technology. So the 12th challenge is to read a book published before 2020. For that, I'm going to read another nonfiction, The Girls of Atomic City, The Untold Story of the Woman Who Helped Win World War II by Denise Kiernan. This, of course, came out when all the books about how awesome women were coming out, all the nonfiction. So I probably will save this one for November, for Nonfiction November, but hey, maybe I'll want to read it sooner. The 13th challenge is to read a science fiction novel. This is another one that gave me a little bit of angst because I didn't really want to start another series per se, so I grabbed the only book that was standalone that's science fiction that I own, which is Black Moon by Kenneth Calhoun. I got this at a dollar store one time. I have no idea what it's about other than it's science fiction, and I think it's about insomniacs somehow. The 14th challenge is to read a standalone. For this, I have The Singles Game by Lauren Weisberger. This I got in a book box, again, probably around 2016 or so. It is stickied by the author with like annotations, and it is some sort of chick lit women's fiction, something like that. I think she wrote The Devil Wears Prada, which I have not read. So this would be the first book that I read by her, but like it's kind of a special book and I haven't picked it up yet. The 15th challenge is to read a book with diverse characters in it. I chose Swing Times by Zadie Smith. Another book of the month that I've had on my shelf for a long time. Just seems enormous to me. I have read one of her other novels. She is a fantastic author. But these are more on the literary fiction scope, which can be kind of depressing for me, but we'll see how it goes. She is a Black author, and she writes generally about Black characters, so I consider that to be diverse. The 16th challenge is to read a 2020 release. I just grabbed one of the books that came in my fresh fiction box, not to miss because I know those are 2020 releases. And that is Cowboy for Hire by Victoria James. This is a contemporary romance. And I might need some of these little pick-me-ups during this, so it's nice to have them built already in. The 17th challenge is to read a classic. Ladies and gentlemen, I have determined that this is the year that I will finish Dombey and Son by Charles Dickens. This book is enormous. I started it a couple years ago. I got 148 pages in, was loving it, and then got weird. So I am going to read this year. The 18th challenge is a contemporary. I chose The Devil in the Saddle by Julia London. Again, been on many TBRs at this point. And there's cute dogs on the cover. And I'm going to probably, with all of this heavy reading, need some light stuff to keep me going and happy during this next 3 months. So this is the one that's going to do it. The 19th challenge is to read a book with leaves on the cover. They probably meant fall leaves, but that's not going to happen. I chose The Clergyman's Wife by Molly Greeley. There are many leaves on the cover. They are not fall leaves, though. This is a Pride and Prejudice-like continuation on Charlotte Lucas's story. The 20th challenge is to read a thriller. For this, I chose The Word Exchange by Elena Graydon, and this is a dystopic thriller. I do not know how to explain it. I got it in a book box, again, 2016 or so. Gotta get these books read. The 21st challenge is to read a romance. Very easy for me. And I'm going to read The Billionaire in Boots by Julia London. This is the first book. I already have the second book on my TBR, so. The 22nd challenge is to read a middle grade. For this one, I have chosen Cat and Meg Conquer the World by Anna Primazza. And this is kind of a girl power book. And both girls have like mental issues. One has anxiety, one has ADHD, and they are both fangirls for some sort of computer thing, I think. It says separately they're a mess, together they just might be awesome. So we'll see where that brings our girls. The 23rd challenge is to read a sequel. For this one, I have Death Sits Down to Dinner by Tessa Arlen. I read the first book in this series. Again, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I had no idea there were more. I thought it was just a single book. These are historical cozy mysteries, and they are pre-World War I, which is around when I really like some historical stuff. So I have the other 3 books in the series as well, and I really, this year, wanted to finish these books. And number 24 is to read a new to you author. For this, I chose to read Lafayette in the Somewhat United States by Sarah Vowell. This is a nonfiction, and it is about, I'm assuming what it is, but she is very tongue-in-cheek, I think, so I feel like I'll really enjoy her. It's also not very long, and it is also a book of the month. I didn't find out until afterward that you could combine challenges and things like that, but this is like a potential TBR. Things can always get changed up, and we'll see how things go along the way, but I really wanted to read a book for every challenge in order to get things off my shelf. So otherwise it's not a challenge, right? And I want to be challenged to read the books that I own. I hope everyone meets their goals with this. If you have any thoughts about the books that I'm choosing, or if you've read anything or want to tell me something good, I mean, because who wants negativity on their channel? I mean, don't tell me something bad unless you really have to, but say something, that's fine. Comment below, I will try to get to you. I hope you're reading something great. I will talk to you all later. Have a great day. Bye.